Today is Human Rights Day. The United Nations established it in 1948. In halls of marble and glass, politicians in $5,000 suits will give speeches about freedom. They will talk about dignity. They will talk about the end of oppression. They will clap for themselves, give each other awards, and drink champagne to celebrate how civilized the modern world has become. It is the most hypocritical day on the calendar, because slavery didn't end. It just evolved. It just changed its business model. It moved from the plantation to the spreadsheet. In the 1800s, slavery was a capital asset model. A slave owner had to buy you, house you, feed you, and make sure you didn't die because you were an investment. It was expensive. It was inefficient. In 2025, the masters have figured out a much more efficient system. They don't own the body. They own the debt. If you have to work 60 hours a week just to pay the interest on your credit card, your student loan, and your mortgage, you are an indentured servant. You are free to leave, sure. But where will you go? The debt follows you. The credit score follows you. The digital ledger is the new chain, and it is lighter, stronger, and tighter than iron ever was. But let's look deeper. While they preach about human rights in Geneva, let's look at the supply chain of their virtue. Human rights speeches in the West. Hidden human costs in Congo, Dhaka, and Shenzhen. It is the same system, just different masks. They tell you to buy an electric vehicle to save the planet. They tell you it is the moral choice. But where does the cobalt for that battery come from? It comes from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Picture a 12-year-old boy standing knee-deep in toxic red mud, digging with a rusted shovel for $1 a day. He breathes heavy metal dust that shreds his lungs before he turns 20. But you don't see that. You just see the shiny Tesla in the showroom with the zero-emission sticker. The blood is washed off before it reaches the dealership. That isn't a supply chain. That is a pipeline of suffering feeding your lifestyle. Your green virtue is built on black slavery. The energy transition is not a technological miracle. It is a resource war that is recolonizing Africa. Your $10 fast fashion is sewn in locked rooms in Southeast Asia where women work 14 hours a day, forbidden to use the bathroom, paid wages that guarantee they will never escape poverty. Your smartphone, built in factories in China, surrounded by suicide nets so the workers can't jump off the roof to end their misery. We have outsourced the brutality. We moved the slavery just far enough away, over the horizon, behind the firewall, that we can pretend it doesn't exist. We kept the discount. They kept the scars. And here in the West, right under our noses, we have the prison industrial complex. Read the 13th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution carefully. It abolished slavery, except as punishment for a crime. That is the loophole. That is the business plan. Today there are nearly 2 million prisoners in the United States. Many are working for pennies an hour in orange jumpsuits, manufacturing goods for major corporations. While the government debates raising the minimum wage on TV, they are paying prisoners 20 cents an hour in the fields. The state supplies the bodies. The corporations harvest the labor. The taxpayer funds the prison. Everyone gets paid, except the prisoner. But all of these, the debt, the mines, the sweatshops, the prisons, are just the visible layers. There is a higher form of slavery that affects everyone. The ultimate form of modern slavery is not physical, it is monetary. It is inflation. Think about what money represents. Money is stored time. You trade the hours of your life, hours you will never get back, for money. You save that money to buy freedom in the future. When the government prints money, they are diluting the pool. They are stealing the purchasing power of the money you worked for. There are 3 layers to this theft. First, taxation. They take a cut of your income openly. Second, inflation. They take a cut of your savings secretly by devaluing the currency. Third, negative real rates. They punish you for saving and herd you into debt. It is a system engineered to make prudence look stupid and dependence look normal. If you work 10 years to save a nest egg and they print enough money to cut its value in half, they have stolen 5 years of your life. They have retroactively enslaved you for 5 years. Stealing the fruits of someone's labor without their consent, that is the definition of slavery. And the Federal Reserve is the greatest slave master in human history because their whip is invisible. So when you hear the UN talk about human rights today, do not applaud, laugh. There are no human rights in a system designed to strip mine humanity for profit. There are only property rights. And if you don't own property, you are the property. The e-global economy is not a free market. It is a plantation. There is the house, the elites, and there is the field, the rest of us. The house sets the interest rates. The house writes the tax codes. The house gets the bailouts. The field pays the inflation. The field fights the wars. The field owns nothing. The only way to break the chains is to become solvent. Freedom is not a gift from the United Nations. Freedom is not a law written on a piece of paper. Freedom is a financial status. It is the ability to say no. It is the ability to walk away. Here is the architect's protocol for reclaiming your sovereignty. First, kill the consumer debt. You cannot invest your way out of slavery while you are paying 20% credit card interest. Break those chains first. Build a buffer. Have 6 to 12 months of expenses in liquid form, not locked in a retirement fund you can't touch. Part of that buffer should live in places that are hard to freeze, block, or restructure overnight. This buys you the power to say no. 3. Shift to hard assets. Move your stored labor out of paper currency that melts and into assets that hold value. Gold, silver, land, Bitcoin, things they cannot print. 4. Exit the slave supply chain. Stop buying disposable trash. Buy quality tools. Repair what you own. Support local producers. Starve the beast. 5. Diversify your income. If your only income is a salary, you are one bad meeting away from ruin. Build streams they cannot switch off. In this system, neutrality is impossible. Secure your sovereignty or serve those who have. I am the architect, and I will see you tomorrow.